The day we normally look at new movies that are out this week, but because I'm going to be locked in an escape room with Pudsey for Children in Need tomorrow, we are going to chat to movie critic Van Connor today about all the movies that come out tomorrow. He's seen them all. He comes on every Friday normally to recommend which ones are worth going to see. So welcome back to the show. Van Connor, how are we?
I am all good, Mr. Ball. Thank you. And you know what a ditty to come into that song.
I know, right? I haven't heard that for quite a while, which is quite nice to play today. Okay, so how has it been this week for movies? Is it a good week? Is it a bad week? I'd have thought it's stepping up with sort of Christmas movies yet. No?
Well, yeah, I mean, the Christmas season is starting. I mean, Red One is still the big tentpole. Gladiator 2 comes out tomorrow, which I have not seen and can't talk about because Paramount. But Red One is still out there. And if ever you feel like you're lacking confidence in anything, because obviously we talked about Red One last week. If you ever feel that you need a bit more courage, that you need to find the drive to do something that you're worried about people laughing at you for, just remember Amazon Studios have legitimately put Red One forward for consideration for the Best Picture Oscar next year. So the Everest of optimism right there.
Well, we'll see how they fare on that one then a little bit later. All right. Well, we got two movies to look at today, Piece by Piece in a moment, which is something that, if you know the concept, is quite bizarre, but I think really sounds great.
Bonkers.
It's bonkers, but I think it works. But we'll start with a thriller called Magpie, which I know nothing about, Van. So if you'd like to start us off with this, please do.
So it's a British set drama starring Daisy Ridley, you know, effectively still the de facto face of the Star Wars franchise. She's kind of the heroic lead of the Star Wars franchise still, really. Opposite Shahzad Latif, funnily enough, from the Star Trek franchise. They are a young married couple. They have a young daughter who's maybe 6 or 7 years old, and is a sort of aspiring child actress. They have a newborn as well who's just come into the mix, and dad is effectively the designated parent who is taking their daughter to work on film shoots and sets. And on one of these location shoots, on one of these filming sets, he finds himself drawn to the young star, the young female star of the movie, the adult actress who is playing his daughter's on-screen mum, and a sort of burgeoning relationship starts to form between them, undeniable chemistry, etc. In the meanwhile, Daisy Ridley's character as well is dealing with postnatal depression, which is somewhat exacerbated by all of the gaslighting and all of the stuff her hubby's doing. You know what I mean? So I've got a clip for you. This is from Magpie, which is on digital and in limited cinemas now.
Bye, Mummy.
How is Ben? Of his dreams of peace and quiet born fruit?
Ben!
It's been really great for him. It's so great. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
You must be Matilda.
I'm her dad.
Really nice to meet you.
You too. I'm a big fan.
Alicia sounds nice.
She's amazing.
I have terrible taste in men.
Would you like to see me?
I would love to.
Wow. I mean, this sounds like a movie that I'd watch and then I'd be thinking about the movie for like hours afterwards.
That's the problem, you won't. You really won't. I watched it about an hour later, I'd forgotten most of it. I was like, this just feels like the B&M version of Marriage Story. You know, like when you go into B&M and you buy the naff version of a product from somewhere else? This is what happens if you've not got Netflix and you want to watch Marriage Story, you just go and get the B&M version instead. The performances are very good, and it's got one of those absolute whoop and cheer kind of final flexes that, you know, it's kind of, you're invested in that because it's such a big flex. But the movie itself is really boilerplate and forgettable. You won't be that interested in it. The final flex is good. I'll give it that. It's a good final flex. But it doesn't make up for a film that otherwise is being held off entirely by, you know, the performances from the face of the Star Wars franchise and the face of the Star Trek franchise. Well, one of the faces of the Star Trek franchise. Daisy Ridley really needs new representation. This is getting embarrassing now. Like I say, face of the Star Wars franchise. Come on. Between The Young Woman and the Sea earlier this year, which we didn't even review because they didn't give it a press show and didn't report box office numbers for, and then this, Daisy, honey, come on. No, avoid this one. Just avoid. The performances are not worth seeking it out for.
All right. Well, if you do want to try and make your own mind up, despite what Van says, you can. Magpie is out this weekend in very select cinemas across the UK, and you can watch on streaming now as well. Okay, so on to our next then, Piece by Piece. I mean, Van, I could try and sum this up, but I think it's better off coming from you. Talk about what this... I mean, it's about Pharrell Williams, but in a very different kind of way.
Put very simply, the director of the Mr. Rogers documentary, Morgan Neville, has made a biographical documentary with Pharrell Williams, in which Pharrell Williams sits down, does interviews to camera, and all of his famous mates who he's worked with over the years also sit down and talk to camera. And when they've made this documentary, they have mapped Lego over it. They have used Lego movie visual effects and animation and mapped it over the actual people. And when you're watching this story unfold, like a Noel documentary, he would say, and then we went to this concert, we did this gig, and you'll see footage of the gig whilst he talks over the top of it and says, and it was great, we felt this. However, rather than the footage of the gig, what we get here are these great big Lego movie style fantasy set pieces where he steps on stage and flames erupt behind him and they are sent shooting off into the galaxy, and it's all visualized in this incredible way. And just to give you an example, and I'm going to just preface this by saying what you are about to hear sees Lego Pharrell being hurled through the cosmos as if he's in Rick and Morty. This is him discovering music as a child.
And I loved music. Like, everybody loves music, but I'm realizing I had a different kind of relationship with it. Like, it was mesmerizing to me. I didn't even know that I was mesmerized. I just thought that's what all black kids did. I thought we all just stared into the speaker like, whoa. I was seeing colors. It's called synesthesia. It's not something that you see with your physical eyes. It's something that you see in your mind's eye.
Oh, I'm so wanting to see this. I guess because they're using Lego to animate his life. I mean, you can do what you want with that. I mean, you don't need to search for, like, historic library footage. He can create whatever he wants with it.
Well, that's the beauty of it. It has been really well animated to capitalize on that footage. And even in a more contemporary sense, there are sequences where you see artists that Pharrell and the Neptunes worked with and produced for over the 2000s in particular, and all of those songs. And we're talking about, like, Britney's Toxic. We're talking about Snoop's Drop It Like It's Hot. We're talking about No Doubt's Hella Good. And so you wind up with a Lego version of No Doubt, fronted by a Lego Gwen Stefani, who is then doing the talking head bit in interviews.
Amazing.
And it's surreal and brilliant. And you get so into it and swept away with the narrative of it, which plays as a pretty straightforward rags to riches kind of rock star story. But, you know, you forget that it's a documentary because you just get swept up in the Lego-ness of it, and it just feels like a straight narrative. You think, oh, this is just a fun film in its own right. I'm forgetting this is a biographical documentary because that doesn't occur to me. It's just a really interestingly put together narrative Lego adventure, and one that, for instance, I know you have a young son, you can watch and you will love as the music fan, and your son will sit there and watch and love a Lego movie.
Yeah.
So it's kind of genius.
Exactly that. I mean, I'm seeing it as anyone who loves Lego or the Lego movies and absolutely loves the music from the early noughties, this is going to be an absolute winner, right?
I mean, have you ever wanted to see the Blurred Lines video done with Lego? Because you will have done by the time you see this.
Incredible. Absolutely love the idea of this. And if you want to watch it, you can, because Piece by Piece is out this weekend. You can see it at View Cinema Oxford and The Light in Banbury. And if you do want to see Magpie, as I mentioned earlier, very select cinemas, but it's also available on streaming. Whereabouts on streaming is Magpie, Van, if anyone wants to search for it? Do you know?
Digital store platform. So if you go to, it's one of those where if you go on Amazon Prime, you can watch it, but you have to pay a few quid.
God, yeah. And Sky probably have it there as well.
Apple portal. Yeah, Sky Store, etc. When we say on digital, that's kind of what we're referring to.
Excellent. All right, so a good movie and an averagely bad movie there this week. What have we got for next week to look forward to? Anything?
Well, we're getting wicked next week, sir.
Oh,
we're going to defy gravity. If I can find some green face paint, I'll show up on camera for you all green.
Do you know what?
We did it for Wonka.
I have no doubt that you absolutely will. So, you know, I look forward
Post Wonka, I mean.
I look forward to Friday next week. All right, thank you, Van. We shall chat Friday. Have a lovely rest of the week and a good weekend. All right, we'll speak then.
Till next time, good stuff.